From the global resources of ABC News, with Terry Moran in Washington, Martin Bashir and Cynthia McFadden in New York City, this is Nightline, January 26th, 2007.
Good evening. Tonight we bring you the hidden lives of many children here in America. This is one of the most prosperous countries on the planet, and yet there are still around 13 million children living below the poverty line in the United States. So what strategies are there for lifting children out of poverty and turning these young lives around? Here with a special report from Camden, New Jersey, is Diane Sawyer.
The children of Camden, considered the poorest city in America, engulfed by the drug trade and a murder rate 7 times the national average.
And sometimes they'll shoot when I sleep. I put the pillow over my head because it'd be too loud.
This is Ivan, age 4. He keeps telling us how much he wants to learn to read, though he and his family, his mother Precious, his little brother Emir, are homeless. At times, spending whole days outside in the park, dirty, hungry, no place to go.
What did they eat today? But we ain't eat nothing yet.
But Ivan has a solution to their problems. He wants to become Superman.
Superhero or somebody let me fly on a back.
He has dreams that he wish he can fly to get us a house.
When I see a house, then I'll get it.
The young boy wants to be Superman so he can get out of his community. But this is my view. You shouldn't have to be a Superman to get out of your neighborhood, right? You should be able to be an ordinary person.
Luke Harris started out like Ivan. He grew up in Camden in the 60s, the son of a prostitute and a drug addict. He says one person, a stranger, gave him the gift of support and expectations. He made it all the way to Yale Law School, now a professor at Vassar College, and co-founder of the African American Policy Forum. He says someone has to step in for kids like Ivan and 6-year-old Moochie and 17-year-old Billy Joe.
But you know, in America, we really do believe now, we're just convinced that your success is inside you. It's not your circumstance, it's inside you. And that anybody can triumph, tough odds.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice idea. That's a nice set of values. I mean, that's the American dream.
And it is easy to believe in places like Moorestown, which is just 10 minutes from Camden. A place where everything around you signals opportunity.
How much harder is it really for Ivan, for Moochie, for Billy Joe? Really?
It's enormously harder. If you look at life in the way a lot of Americans do as a race, right? And you have different lanes on a track, right? The kids in Moorestown are in a lane where there are no obstacles on that track. The kids in Camden are running in a lane where there are all kinds of obstacles. There's violence in the community. There's drugs in the community. There's poverty in the community. For them to achieve in a way that would reflect what's going on with the kids in Moorestown would be an extraordinary achievement because they have to climb mountains where other kids are just walking.
Billy Joe dreams of being the first person in his family to graduate from high school. He says his mother left the family when he was just 9, and they rarely see her. His dad, Victor, is raising 6 kids. He had to quit work 4 years ago because of serious heart trouble. By the end of nearly every month, the $600 in food stamps have run out.
So you learn to eat the food a certain amount at a time, so that way you can have it to last to the next first.
How do you work it in the family when there isn't much food?
Well, the priority is the babies and Stephen and Jonas because they're the youngest.
It is Billy's critical senior year.
Waiting for the night.
His teachers say he's gifted. He has a passion for drama, but by winter his grades are dangerously rocky. Billy has been recruited by drug gangs, but in the end said no. Each day when school is over, as it gets dark, he boards a bus for a 20-minute trip to a neighboring town where he found a job.
So what do you think about on the way to work?
I feel the obligation to help my father out when I get paid because I know that he can't do it all by himself.
He works at a fast food chain. He feels lucky that he also gets a free meal. 5 hours later, he's ready to take the bus home. It's 10:30 at night.
Getting up at 6 in the morning to do it all over again.
He has earned a little more than $30, with homework still ahead.
What was very striking among the kids from Camden was they were not materialistic, they were generous, they were not greedy, and middle-class parents have real difficulty actually trying to get their kids to think and behave that way. So there's a common perception that the problem with poor folks in the United States is a problem of values, and I think that your video demonstrated remarkably well that it's not a values deficit at all. It's really a resources deficit.
Sociologist Dalton Conley and Jeffrey Canada of the Harlem Children's Zone in New York City say this is not a problem without solutions.
We've set up a conveyor belt starting at birth, going right through to college, so that our young people have really solid programs and opportunities so that they can help find adults to help them through these hurdles. And there's a hurdle at almost every stage of their life.
The Children's Zone now gives family support to 100 blocks in Harlem.
Sunlight, very good.
So no little child has to do it on their own. Children like Moochie in Camden, who takes us through her needle-infested playground
All you do is drink, drink, drink.
into the battle zone of her father's drinking, her mother's weariness and anger.
What kind of father figure are you? But where my son is at, because you can't be a father to your own flesh and blood.
We watch her straight A's and confidence.
You're going to graduate from high school?
To college.
You're going to graduate from college?
And
Are
I'm
you
gonna be a judge.
a judge?
Become reserve, wobbly grades, and migraines.
When they argue, I get a headache. Like this.
What happens in a place like Camden is the kids who are really resilient, who really try, after a while you see them getting worn down. Month after month, year after year, suddenly it dawns on them, this is hard, I don't know if I can do it.
Everybody's doing math.
There are impressive programs in Camden like Urban Promise and the Boys and Girls Club, but they can reach only a few thousand kids in a city of 20,000 children. We all know about the horrible hunger and suffering in Africa. But in America, 1 in 6 children grows up in poverty, which can kill a spirit, if not a life.
People began to characterize these kids as if they're not all individuals. And my theory is once you get to know them, you realize how fragile the existence is for these children, and that a lot of American kids have nothing.
Tonight, tens of thousands of kids are like Billy Joe, who had his electricity cut off. Homework had to be finished before dark in the cold. 1 kerosene heater to keep them going. Billy's toddler nieces have no milk. Poverty breeds ingenuity. Victor has a plan. He fills up bottles with those little coffee shop containers of half and half, mixed with water. But with extraordinary effort, he finally became the first in his family to graduate high school. And so many other kids tonight, like Moochie and Ivan, kids who are sometimes just one caring adult away from a way out.
A good, solid mentor, a big brother, coming and seeing a young person like that, you help them out. You help them negotiate how you go from one place to the other. Here's a way that you can get some additional help in tutoring. Here's a way you can go to junior college. Here's a way you can get a night job and then do your work so that you can continue your education so you finally make it.
This isn't magic. These aren't secrets. You're just talking about people who come and concentrate child by child by child.
It's about trying to find out what are all the additional obstacles on the track that these 3 young people face, and what do we have to do to remove it. You want to create a situation where people are growing up in communities where they don't have to escape for them, right? Where they don't have to do superhuman things in order to have ordinary lives.
We've got to try harder, we've got to be smarter, we've got to be more determined, but we've got to save these kids. We can't ignore this, because you know what? 20 years from now, guess what? There'll be someone in there doing a documentary on Camden, and they'll be saying, wow, this is unbelievable. How did this get like this? Why haven't we done anything? If we could solve it, we don't have to wait 20 years.
The challenge for the children of Camden. And for more on what you can do, please visit our website at nightline.abcnews.com. And just ahead on Nightline...